And thank you. And welcome to the January 2025 Evergreen Cataloging Interest Group meeting. I'm Jennifer Weston, facilitator of this fine group. I think I know everybody here, but I'll finish the statement anyway. On behalf of the organizing committee, whose names are listed at the top of the agenda as always, we welcome you. I don't think there's anybody new here. If it is, this agenda magically turns into the notes because everybody who has the link to the agenda can take notes as we go along. So we'll do that. Um, I had not intended to talk about the Evergreen Conference this week until I looked at the Evergreen Conference proposal deadline at the end of January. So I thought this is an excellent time for us to focus since we have a meeting now. We've got a couple of weeks to talk about proposals. We do this every year. This just kind of snuck up on me. The conference is in May, so I thought we'd just kind of go through our regular standing items. And if there's anything anybody wants to talk about, we've got plenty of time. There's not a formal presentation this month. We'll start formal presentations next month. But I did want us to brainstorm a bit about the conference. Anything anybody else wants to talk about before I just start going through our regular things and marching towards conference proposal talk? Okay. Hearing nothing, let's do our usual dance through the agenda. I didn't put a I should have put snow on here because so many of us have had snow in the last few weeks. If it's snowing where you are, I can celebrate with you because I finally had snow. First time in a long time. Even Georgia had snow. Yes, Darren, I heard that. That's fabulous. Fabulous, fabulous. I think I still have about 3 inches on my deck, but the sun's taking it all away today, and that's okay. Didn't stick around too long. 10 years? I did not hear that it had been 10 years, Darren, since Georgia had snow. I believe it. It's been an exciting couple of weeks here. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I think, well, anywhere near 10 years, that means it's been a while. I see Chrissy says that you didn't celebrate. Yeah, I know you get it all the time. Oh, 10. Okay, now I'm just watching. 10 inches in 2 days is way too much. Way, way too much. And I like where I live, things just kind of stop when we get 4 inches of snow. And that's okay. It slows down. Our usual. I like to get the weather update before we get started. Keep adding to the notes. I'll follow you. Yeah, I see the note there. Crews don't know how to deal with that much now. Ours either. Okay, I'll keep going. Around that times around lunchtime I tend to get a little distracted, and I think you've all learned that through the years. Sharon says, perfect 3.5 inches. You stay home and it melted in 2 days. See, that is pretty perfect, I have to admit. Oh gosh, Sharon, 20 below is no, that's not something I want to entertain at all. Now, we wish you all the warmth possible. Yeah, that's icy. To put on the real coats. Oh, that's hilarious. Okay. Um, I will say I'll use your microphones too if you want, but I'm enjoying the chat. I, I said I would sneak right through that so we can get to the talking. So I will stick to my promise to do just that. Okay, release notes since last time. I've just listed where the newest versions. The release teams continue to be very, very impressive. So we had another release in December. And they're the point releases and links to all of them. Those releases announcements, of course, go out to the list. And those are just linked to the release notes. We've got the latest releases on the wiki, documentation, community demo servers, all the usual stuff. Development roadmap 315 is marching right along. I don't know if anybody on the release team is here. I'm trying to scroll through names. Let's see anybody. I know we talked a bit about what 315 was going to entail in December, and there's some exciting stuff in there, including potentially item alerts and notes. And so if you missed that in December, we had a pretty good conversation, and our notes are linked in here. They're linked on the wiki, but they're also linked further down below if you want to see some of that. And then further down below, we've also talked a little about the collaborative code review. But thanks to the 315 release team, looks like still planning for spring, which, it's January, so spring's not too far away. Like I said, the collaborative code review is a little further down, and we can link to that and talk about it if you want. Anybody involved in 315 that wants to talk about 315 today? I'm really enjoying seeing the notes from the collaborative code review so that we get an insight into what's going on there. Okay, we'll keep going, and I'll remember to talk about that when we a little further down. Events, bug squashing coming up. Taryn, do you want to say anything about bug squashing other than it's coming up the end of the month?
Yep, it's coming up. If anybody here hasn't participated in bug squashing before, I highly recommend doing so. It's a great way to get a look at the upcoming versions of the software. We'll have a few different test servers set up with, gosh, 314.3, and then they'll have as many different bug patches ready that are ready for testing applied to them as we can. Um, so you can tell which ones will be ready to test if they have a pull request tag on them. I won't go into the details, but we'll have a big list. If you have any patches in Launchpad that have a pull request that you really, really want to test, you can email me directly and I can make sure that one of them gets onto a test server. Otherwise, we'll just try to get up as many pull requests as we can. I think there's at least 100 right now.
Ooh, that stops me from typing. At least 100.
130 results
Ah,
when you click on pull request tab. Click.
changes from day to day. There'll probably be some more because I'm putting in a bunch of little ones right now too. And anybody have any questions now, or you can email me too. I'm happy to try to help.
We always appreciate it. Always, always. Okay, that's a lot of bugs to test, so we need to be ready. Just set aside some time the week of the 27th. Let's do that. We talk about from time to time setting aside time as a cataloging working group, just, take an hour out to do that. So if anybody's interested in that, let me know. We can open a channel just to support one another while we're doing some testing if you want. Okay, that's bug squashing week. Now, next is the Evergreen International Online Conference. We did talk about, I think, tentative dates last time. If not, there are your dates, May 12th through the 15th. That includes the pre-conference. It is going to be online, of course. It's virtual, and potentially next year is going to be in person. I don't know if any official announcement has been made, but right now we're focusing on 2025. So we'll hop down to the program list in a moment and do just that. But those are my two big events, celebrations, other than, hey, it's 2025. Any other celebrations? I know that next thing I'm going to ask is about how you're all doing, if you've upgraded, what version you're on, anything exciting since December you want to talk about. So we can do all of that at once. If anything's incorrect about your library and the current version, I tried to go back through all of our notes and, well, make a note of the last update we had. I just put a nice little chart in there. Perhaps easier to find your library there. We had a few, let's see, that were supposed to be upgrading at the end of the year. Yeah, there's last November. So if anything's out of date, please update it or drop a note in chat and we'll take care of it. Oh, I see, Taryn. I was going to add your note into the record here. A lot of those bugs are your pre-upgrade testing. So Pines pre-upgrade to 314. So that's what you're doing. So that's exciting. February. So we get together February and March. So so you'll be upgraded before the conference. Oh, I can't wait to hear how that goes. Mary, you're upgrading to 313 beginning of February. Ooh, that's just a few weeks away. That's exciting. So do we catch that note up there? So I'll be upgrading. February. Gotcha. Okay, so keep updating if anybody has any particular they want to chat about either in preparing for upgrading or have upgraded or just want to say, woohoo, we did upgrade. Please share. Okay, and then next, I'm running through this quickly so we can have as much time as we want to talk about proposals, but the unified community calendar is, of course, updated. I still love that. I still continue to do the chart because, habits, I suppose. So I have all of the next meetings that I am aware of I have a couple of notes to point out. Usually I just say if anybody has any announcements, but this time I do. The authorities working group needs to find a new date to meet because that second Thursday at 2 is finding a lot more conflicts than days than we can meet. Right now, it's waiting on me to put together a poll. We canceled last week. So I'll put up a poll. We do hope to meet this month because there's a lot to do, and there's some work that the authorities working group wants to do to be able to put together some kind of material for a proposal for the conference. So do watch for an announcement. It will be forthcoming, if not this afternoon, tomorrow morning. I'm going to send an announcement to the entire cataloging list to look for dates that might work better than that second Thursday at 2 Eastern. We've got to cross 5 time zones to find time that will work, which I'm excited about, but we just run into some conflicts. So we're going to try again. There you go. And that's it for that announcement. BibFrame, there's not a lot going on, so that's my announcement there. I know last year we kept saying just wait for meetings and nothing happened last year, so I'm just going to say right now there's nothing on the horizon. When there is, I will share what I know. If anybody else is interested in taking on that project, we will support you completely. And I think I've got most of the notes on here with one extra note from Susan, who I'm not sure was able to join us, but she emailed me in advance about the permissions working group. We've been invited to collaborate with them. Well, I guess we have a standing invitation to collaborate with them, quite honestly. But in February, they're going to be specifically looking at cataloging permissions. So we're all invited to the February 25th meeting. And I think they meet at, 3 p.m. Eastern. So it's not this month, but next month. So we've got a nice long window to prepare for. So that would be great. I know that there are a lot of wish list bugs out there for cataloging permissions, but then there's also like all permissions, a lot to be done to testing, defining what the existing ones really do, what perhaps is missing. So please consider if you have time on February 25th to make plans to join the permissions working group. All the information that you need to join the group is on the community calendar, and I should say that most all of these are on the calendar. And then I've already given the update about authorities. Any of the other working groups? Let me slowly scroll back up. Hey, Elizabeth, do you want to say a little more about this? I can read your notes if you want me to.
Oh, sure. For the permissions group, we've been kind of going through every single permission in the stock permission groups and kind of assessing like, is this well, we just did the circ, so it would have been like circ clerk, or would it have been a managerial, would it have been more of an administrative level? So we do go over bugs, but we're also doing like a review of kind of where each individual permission kind of falls. If
Gotcha.
that makes sense.
It does. It
Okay.
absolutely does. Is the goal towards putting together groups that are more descriptive when you're looking at, like you said, like circ manager type stuff?
I think so. I missed like the first couple meetings, so I kind of jumped in at the end. So I can't speak fully to the overall arching goal of it, but that's what we've been doing lately.
I can see how that would be very, very helpful. That's great. Thanks for that. Yeah, the stock groups are a starting point, and just figuring out what they do is the first hurdle, and then categorizing them. We're catalogers. We're going to categorize. That sounds fabulous. It really does. Fun way to spend some time. Anything else from any of the other groups? Okay. and I will keep scrolling along. I'm not going to pause over any Launchpad bugs unless you want to. If anybody has anything they want to highlight, we can certainly do that. And then these, if I'm still trying to see if there are newer faces, I will say that these links just take you to particular searches of Launchpad. And I did update the numbers now. Currently, we have 104 bugs that have both new and cataloging. Doesn't really mean they're brand new. It just means nobody has verified them. So they're sitting there with the new status. 301 cataloging, 116 staff catalog, et cetera, et cetera. And some that need discussion. I think these have been hanging out for a while. We need to really verify if those need to even be bugs anymore. Carol has given us one that she hopes to be testing soon. So let's drop that one in the notes. I'm just going to leave the one from last week because, last month I wanted to give the update that one's been committed. Fix has been committed for that one. Hey, item alerts, notes, tags, and templates rework. Exciting.
I will say that this is Holdings Editor, not Holdings Template Editor, which is kind of annoying, but
Super annoying.
All of us agree.
But we expect that we will get the information for testing, for partner testing in the next day or two. And then we'll have about a month. And we're hoping it won't make it in time for Bug Squash week, which is the end of this month, but should be available depending for 315. And then there is going to be a feedback fest for 315 that is happening late March. So that would be a great time for catalogers to get in there and get a good glimpse at it on a community server and have comments.
yes. Well, I'm going on vacation next week, so
Mm.
it'd be good to
I
get it
hope you have the
before
info.
I
Yeah, before
go.
that. Yeah.
Thanks, Taryn. I was trying to copy and paste and I was losing my train of thought. So Feedback Fest, March 31st through April 4th. I'll put that up there in our events. And scroll by. And hello, Ruth. Glad you could join us.
Thanks. My apologies for being late.
No, no,
I
no.
went ahead and put the link. I'm not sure why it has that address in there, so I'm gonna get a cleaner one. Maybe. Either way, it takes you and shows you the roadmap for 3.15.
Okay. Yeah, I think I just got the general one up there at the top. I'm just going to pop that over there. We'll align it later.
Regarding the actual holdings editor, I think that the actual holdings editor, the standalone holdings editor, that's still in Angular JS. And I haven't looked at it recently to see it. It's not a part of our ECDI projects right now, but it may be something that somebody else is working on.
I know that that's one that we've had a lot of discussion about, but it is the Angular JS issue that says they just don't sync up, is my very, technical phrase for the afternoon.
My hope is that there will be some developer that will kind of has the time. That's literally not a thing, but that takes up it as a passion project, since there is a fair amount of the code already in Angular to then go into fixing or updating the standalone template editor into Angular from AngularJS, but we always hope that.
We do.
And time is the commodity that you cannot buy.
But
Not
can
that we have
only-
extra money anyway, but you know.
Yeah, I'm just hoping for benevolent developers as well.
Mm.
Yeah. I will say that I am proud of us for going many months without talking about how we really, 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 really this template editor. So maybe it's time. It's time again. We've been quiet for a while.
I
I
think
think
that this is actually going to push it.
I hope so, and I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Because I mean we've done all our community says stuff, and so that all the feedback opportunities that we had in Launchpad about reasons once they became asynced. That's just going to stop. That's not a word, but yep. But this is exciting. We're going to see where it goes. So Feedback Fest, we can potentially review that, which is also before the conference. So we might get to talk about it at the conference. Ruth, anything else with 315? We said thank you already when you weren't here. But anything else going on there you want to update us on?
Not yet.
Okay.
We've
Cool.
had our first meeting for the release team
Yep.
and doing well for that. There is a point release due out this week. It's due on Wednesday, but we always have that date as an aspirational date. It will likely be Thursday or Friday, just because it's all volunteers. So,
Of course.
but it's happening right now.
Cool. Wonderful. Thank you very much. Okay. Bouncing right along then. I thought I had a link. Oh, I do. I promised I would scroll all until I found the collaborative code review notes. So here they are, almost at the bottom. Just if you weren't here in December when this was shared with us originally, I just want to let you know that this is there. That's correct language. But here we've got the Launchpad tracker, and thank you to Ruth for bringing this to us and for being such a big part of keeping this up to date. Do you want to spend just a minute or two and talk about what this is in case
Yeah,
anybody
it is mostly up to date. I haven't updated it since I did partial update yesterday, but I haven't since then, and I haven't checked Launchpad to see commits since after that. But we did look at, if you scroll up there, we did look at keep on going. There's a Vandalay ticket in there. I'm not sure where we got to that. I'll need to check on it.
Okay.
But that was something we worked on yesterday in code review and picked around. I had to leave, so I'm not sure if they applied the patch and tested, but we did confirm that.
Just seeing
Let me
what it is
see
real
any.
quick.
So we do have a sign off on it. Fantastic.
We do.
And there was a sign off already, but I'll follow up and
Okay.
see. It was kind of a difficult thing to
test.
test because Vandalay is, I mean, it's its own special thing anyway. I'm sorry, the batch import export tool. But we learned a lot of things about it while we were doing it. So
Nice.
keep on keeping on.
Yep. Just scrolling through there real quick. Beautiful. Thanks. Okay. Well, then I will just leave that for others to review in their leisure. Now,
The other thing I do want to pull one, and this is, I'm
Okay,
gonna just
see what you're
be
noting.
like a huge marketer for the collaborative code review. You don't have to know anything about what's going on to show up there. You don't have to know what the things in the ticket necessarily mean, or well, I guess maybe you do, but not necessarily. I would encourage you, if you have the time, to just go and see what happens and kind of catch the vibe of it. Because at some point, it may click, something of it may click with you, and then there will be a Launchpad ticket that you have your heart set on. and you want it to get more attention. And that really is a great place to go and get more attention on it, especially if there's been work done for it. It has a pull request, and for whatever reason, it hasn't necessarily made it into a bug squash, or it has made it into a bug squash, but it hasn't been fully committed, fully tested, fully whatever. It's a great opportunity to get in there and just meet with people that want to hash through things with the goal to get things fixed and committed. And new developers workshop or group also is very good at looking at things to fix. And then collaborative code review is very good at looking at things to test and commit. So do it. You'll love it eventually.
Woohoo. And it's Mondays. I had those in two different places, so I'm trying to bring all that
Yep,
information
Mondays
together.
at 2 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay. And the link is on the calendar.
Yes.
Like, link is on the calendar. Excellent. Thanks. Okay. That's it. Unless anybody has anything else they want to mention, and then we're going to start talking about all the good ideas that we have for presentation proposals for the conference. As usual, conference is looking for pre-conferences as well as, well, regular conferences. How's that for a very good description? But we have been stellar in the last few years representing the cataloging group and making sure that there were cataloger related proposals that were there. I'm curious this year if there's anything that's lingering. I brought some old notes up from, we started talking a little bit about this in December, so I've just dropped those in there. I would be interested to see if there's any kind of coordination. I know that that's one of the things we did. Like, we sometimes we get the conference committee will get topics that are so similar. We just ask people to work together. So this is a good time to talk about those things, and we could just do that planning to work together before we submit proposals. We can do the coordination and collaboration here as well. So let me stop talking and let me see what your ideas are about things you'd like to see us talk about, whether you want to give a presentation or not. Be very clear, I'm not volunteering anybody, but just things that you would like to see presented on or that you had the opportunity to talk about. Even things that you thought were really great in the past that you want to do again or see an update on. And Ruth, I'm doing a bad job selling this, so if anything else about the conference you want,
You're not doing a
drag
bad
in there.
job. And I am very hopeful to see during the conference, because I love buckets so very much, somebody that has started using the new record bucket and bucket administration functionality, maybe, or something like that. And if I don't, then I'll maybe do like a lightning talk for my own self, um, because it's very cool. And it is something that is available in 3.14 plus. So not everybody, of course, is on that version or a version from that. But I heart buckets. I'm not the only
But
one.
I've been testing it, and yeah, that's awesome.
Nice. I'm trying to get a link to last year's conference. There we are. For more.
Also, the
Sorry,
theme this year is emerging technologies, which is obviously that's a pretty broad thing. Um, but my encouragement would be to when I say emerging technologies, that you capture the first thing that comes to mind and think about how that might relate to cataloging or libraries or something like that, and run with it. One of the things about emerging technologies is that it has a lot to do with dreaming and thinking about the future. And I hate using the word innovate because it's overused, but there I did it. I said that word. And but what does that mean for you in your job, for your ideas about Evergreen and those. And so maybe that's also a good way to think about it. My hope for this conference is that it has a lot of hope built into it. I have some personal reasons for that. Uh, I think everybody has some personal reasons for that. So was that good? Was that good marketing?
I like that. That was very good. I have to share, though, that I'm not sure how helpful this will be. But when I hear that, I still think that um, we continue to prove day in and day out why AI will never be a great cataloger.
It will never be a great cataloger. Okay. Thank you
Won't
for
be a great
soapboxing me for just a second
cataloger.
because I'm running with it. It will
Please
never
do.
replace a cataloger, but it may be a good cataloging tool in the
Right.
hands of an adept cataloger. And we had a conversation, and I don't know if Stephanie is in here or not, and I don't remember who all else was in on that conversation. Um, and I don't remember why it happened. It must have been Rogan. And somehow we
Uh,
got on the topic of um, tagging and bibliographic records and how that kind of um, tagging as a way to categorize. We
mhm.
were actually talking a website. It's all coming back to me now. I'm not going to go into great detail about that, but I'm going to give you too much detail. So sorry about all of this. And in my mind, that immediately connected to the idea of bib frame, um, because we have these
Yep.
little bits of attributes, and uh, and that's something that AI could be helpful with. Um, and conversion, I did go to a conference here in Virginia, which was with technical services librarians. I don't even know how I ended up there other than I saw it and I was like, I'm going to go to that. It was kind of weird, but I did it. And there was a presentation by individuals from the Library of Congress talking about experiments they're doing because they do research on librarianship at the Library of Congress, which was something that I learned and really became a tangible thing in my brain, but on converting from MARC to BibFrame and how and artificial intelligence is maybe a misnomer, but using uh, those some tools that maybe call themselves AI to make that conversion much more efficient and reliable, but it's always in the hands of a human. And they really reiterated that, and I thought that was solid. And I want to know what all you all think about it and what that may do to drive the software. Not right now. Save it for the
Yeah.
conference,
Yeah.
please. I mean, do whatever you want. I'm not in charge.
I'm going to drop in there. Good idea. Number 2, bib frame and AI possibilities for good things. What am I trying to say? Make things faster. That's for efficiency. How's that for efficiencies? Good enough. Captures will come
Kind
up
of feels
to
like you're lighting a scented candle and walking out of the room for a while.
kind of.
I like it. I mean, it's a little dangerous, but we have fire extinguishers, so
I'm leaving it there.
We had a request for kind of a presentation topic from our cataloging folks.
Mhm.
And we'd certainly be willing to participate. We have some local expertise and some connections with people who have some expertise, but well, I won't say local expertise. Anyway, one of the things that we have been talking about is expanding the number of thesauri we have for authorities. And our cataloging community is really curious about groups that are doing the next steps beyond that, like reparative and restorative work in cataloging communities. And so there, one of our librarians was recently meeting with someone who is a tribal librarian, works on in part of the Ojibwe tribal system, and they've replaced Dewey with a classification system that's based on like a classification system that's based in like their traditional knowledge scheme. Like there are lodges, and each lodge is responsible for different domains of information. It's like super cool. So this idea that like controlled vocabularies and classification schemes um, can be reparative and restorative and really come out of this. um, what I said is we sort of think of classification schemes of like there's Dewey and there's Library of Congress and that's it, and there's so much more than that. So we're just kind of curious if anybody, I know many people in cataloging communities are doing work on this, and so if there's anybody around here who would be interested in helping us put together a panel. Obviously, um, there are people who are more towards the expert end of these things. And they may or may not be in the rooms that I am in. I'm not looking together to necessarily put together a panel of experts. I'm looking together to put together a panel of people who are like, what things are we doing? What things are we trying? How are we trying these things out, kind of thing.
Well, one of our libraries created, or not created, but adapted the alternative religion classifications for Dewey, um, and
Okay,
has
so like
presented on
the
it.
100s block kind of thing, like
I
it
think
has
it's
the alternative
200s.
200s. Okay, but it
Um,
has some more expansive.
yeah.
That's
And
cool.
he has presented on it a few times to some of our conferences, regional
Yeah.
and such, so he might be interested in
Yeah, would
helping
you
out with
mind
that.
reaching out to that individual, and if they're interested, then that could be cool.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I know that, when Janet was there before she retired, Carol, she did a presentation for us here just in the group, kind of on the history of, what some of the other libraries were doing originally before Library Congress was even entertaining the idea of making any changes, we could dig that up too as kind of a starting point.
There's also like Homosaurus.
Yes,
And
absolutely.
that was, yeah,
Yeah.
that was sort of our like jumping off point, was we implemented Homosaurus, and now we're kind of like trying to think about what's next.
Hmm.
And so we're really curious about what other people are doing. So I think exactly things like if there's a way to take Dewey, you don't have to throw Dewey out necessarily, but if you can take like part of Dewey and repurpose part of it that's maybe a little restrictive, I think that would be great, because it's can be feel so intimidating to people.
Okay, I'm going to grab the panel discussion too. I think that's an excellent idea. I also know that, starting last year, we I don't know if we set a precedent, that might be dangerous to say, but if we had an expert that we wanted to bring and talk to us, in case I'm looking at you specifically, if there was a little bit of money that we wanted to pay somebody to be a speaker on such a thing, um, we'd have to find the right person and the right, if there's a fit. Is that something we could entertain?
There is the conference has a budget for two speakers,
Okay.
and so Ruth, I don't think we've talked about a second speaker yet, have we?
No, sorry, I had to find my unmute button. And I'm putting in a long link here just because it has information about the alternate um, Dewey arrangement that you're talking about from a webinar from New York Library Association.
Great.
Oh, why am I writing all this stuff? I don't know. Just link it. I just told you
And
all the
there's
stuff I'm trying to type.
There's
So maybe it's Matthew.
Brian Deere as well. Like there are some other indigenous focused ones, and I'll grab. There was one from.
I think that there was a very good point made. I don't know if this was the point that was made, but I heard something and it struck me as a point uh, about not necessarily having experts, which experts are great. I'm not, this is nothing against experts at all. Um, but there is a lot to be said as well about people who maybe don't have the knowledge but want to have the knowledge and who are asking questions. Um, and there is room in the conference um, for panel discussions, and that would be, I think, a really positive thing to have a panel of people who are interested in a question or questions around a theme, and just to hash through some things. I say that for, of course, everything I say is for a personal reason. Let's be real. I'm just a person. So uh, we are in a time where the world is weird, and it's going to get weirder. And because we are attached to a public service or an academic service, which is a public service, or all of those things, it is and is going to continue to get more hairy. And the thing that is going to, I believe, for me, that's going to keep me engaged in this field that I love is dreaming about better, and also not relying. I have relied a long time on the expertise of so many people who I am sure are smarter than me, but who I also believe were much more authoritative, and that is true. But we create authority by learning and by sharing and by doing together. And so that is something that you are doing by just being in this meeting right now, is expanding your own expertise, expanding your own authority, not authorities, but maybe authorities. But anyway, so let's ask questions and not be afraid to not have answers, because in asking and hashing we get closer to answers.
I love it. Yeah, let's pursue this. This is
Yeah.
something we've been kind of dipping our toes in the water and then just I'm not running away, but getting distracted, I suppose. But yes, let's do this year.
So Ann Heidemann is the librarian at the Saginaw Chippewa tribal libraries, and she is the one of our librarians has a connection with them, and just because I don't know the preferred pronouns, and so I will plan to ask about inclusion on a panel at the Evergreen conference.
Yeah.
And then we'll just continue, if there's other people in your orbits that are doing some work, it'd be, just need to have one of the other ways that this touches what we do at Pales is also how do we beef up our non-English language subject headings so that our records that are either mostly not in English or completely not in English are discoverable, whether you're coming at them from English or not. So we've got Homosaurus, and we've got some subject headings from the National Library of Spain. So those are kind of the baby steps that we've taken, and we'd love to hear about some of the other steps, baby or otherwise, that people are taking or would like to take. So
I think
I'm always, and that's completely community driven. That's not coming, not that we don't love it, because we do, but it's not coming from my office. It's someone's like, well, why don't we add Homosaurus? And I'm like, that sounds amazing. Just like the combination of words. I love it, but I don't know what it is. A year ago, I had no idea what Homosaurus was.
And now you've implemented it. It's
And
great.
now we've implemented it, thanks in part to help from Jennifer. So
Not much. You just love that all on your own. We said we can do this. Sometimes that's all you need to hear is it's possible. Yes, we can do this.
yeah, it was just one of those like what is it? Oh,
Yep,
it's a
do
control.
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Yep, it's just a
Yeah.
thesaurus.
It's
That's
just a
all it
thesaurus.
is.
Oh, and it's not that big, and we can download the whole thing. And
Mhm.
yeah, we can do that.
Yep, let's definitely do that. Okay, I usually don't put action items in here, but since you specifically said you contact Anne, I wanted to not lose that resource.
Thanks.
And if there is a the possibility of a second speaker, sooner is way better than later, so that we can get that before the Evergreen project and include it as we're scheduling sessions for the conference, and all of that's kind of happening right now. Oh, and also, let me refer back to this. The call for session proposals is the deadline for that is the 31st of this month. You heard it here. There, if we don't get enough, it'll be a little bit of an extension.
Tradition.
That happens fairly often, like maybe every year.
But put your presentations
Yes.
in. Do it.
Yep.
But put them in,
Feel a
yeah.
sense of
They're due by
urgency.
the 31st.
Mhm.
Hard stop.
Yeah.
So I would love to hear, as a member of the conference committee, I'd love to hear what people would want pre-conferences on. Like, what pre-conferences have you been to before that you loved and you would like repeats of?
One of the things, and is Jessica here? One of the things we've been talking about for, I guess, probably a year now is to have hands-on workshopy type of a pre-conference to talk about electronic resources.
Yeah.
That's starting to mutate a bit as the various discovery layers start interacting with Evergreen, but it's not going away. Not that soon for us to stay away from it. So that's one of the things I'll just add to the list because I know that that's something that we've been looking at putting together and trying to even do a series here, but month after month it doesn't work. But just having the time to dig into it rather than it to be a presentation at you, rather to be a true kind of workshop sort of thing. Real data, real playing with all the tools. I'm just going to put electronic resources workshop.
Regular expressions.
Oh, yes. Thank you for remembering that one. Ah, yes.
Oh, yeah, that'd be good.
Mm-hmm. And their practical application. There we go. Applied regular expression.
Fun and profit.
Yes.
I'm going to be the person that falls on the dumb sword right here. When you're talking about regular expressions, in what context?
Matching for editing.
Yeah. I mean,
Give me an example, please.
So, okay, one that I use daily is I figured this out through trial and error is we have hardcover. We're starting to add hardcover
Okay.
and paperback editions. So I have a report that runs, so I can download all of the print records that were edited or created the day
And see
before.
which ones have HD period cover and which ones have
Yes.
hardcover
Well,
with a
no,
space and which have a hardcover
I've got
with one word.
I've got a whole bunch of tasks to change those in MarcEdit, and then I do a search for anything that does not have the 250 field created with our exact wording for hardcover editions and paperback editions, and that is regular expressions. And
Okay, I go to that.
Yeah. So both
pre-conference.
in MarcEdit the tool and
Yes.
in Mark edit and Evergreen
Right.
edit. Right. So both of those two things. Yeah.
Which also, I'm assuming, are you running that as a SQL query? Are you running that as a report through the reporter? How is
The
that?
original report,
Uh-huh.
John Amundsen created a Metabase report for me that I
Okay.
can filter, change whether it's, the last day or the last 3 days,
Right.
if it was a weekend or. But
Okay.
yes, I've also, I think, tried it a little bit in Evergreen
Yeah. Because there's the
for
expression. Yeah.
really basic stuff because, again, I don't know it well enough and I just
Okay,
play
so
until it works
for all
or
regular
doesn't.
expression. Okay.
So that's on the Mark batch edit screen. And then also,
Yeah.
is it record buckets that we can also use them? Mary, have you trying to remember? Are you the one that
Mm.
showed me a while ago how to do that? Record query, thank you. Record query.
You might need to be, there may need to be a bucket to actually do it.
Yeah. It's fine. We can
Huh.
create one real quick. Talk amongst yourselves.
Okay. Cool. Exciting.
No new bucket.
Bucket name.
Yeah. Okay, new bucket. There we go. Now we'll go find them. Huh. See, this is new. I haven't played with the new one. There it is. Expressions. Isn't that cool? You can search by a name. That's fabulous. How much I love that.
Nice.
Okay, so now where did record? Am I not doing this correctly? Return
I
record.
think it might be in search for up by search catalog in the top right. Would it be that? Would
Over there. Search
yeah.
for.
That I think would be where you would put in your expression.
Do the query. Okay, I'll buy it. Record query. I'm still looking at Catherine's note. I guess that's it. It's just a new version of this screen.
Well, I'm testing it right now using my hardcover edition, paperback edition
Okay, cool.
regex that I know works because it works in MarkEdit.
I wonder if we have the. Oh, we'll do that too. I just. Nah, well, we're also looking at the keyword contains. It did a keyword search. It did not help. I'm watching. We've got about
Yeah.
5 minutes left too, so we can follow up on this.
Okay, yeah, that just went to keyword search, so it
Yeah,
didn't.
it just. Let me see if I can go back a few additions really quickly here. So 311 maybe. I'm going to do this off screen because make sure I don't have anybody else's data pulled. That could be wrong. There it is. This is what we were talking about, Kat. The old screen, I'm in record buckets. There's the record query. That's where we used to be able to query. And that did take regular expressions, didn't it?
That the one that Carol uses doesn't give me any results in the Pales catalog.
Do you have things with that specific
I don't know.
addition text? Yeah.
But I have
So,
2 million, I have several million things and 2 million bibs, so I'm thinking that I do, but I don't know.
probably, yeah.
Bye, Ruth.
Bye, Ruth. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So our homework is to find where we used this record query before and then put together plan for turning this into a pre-conference. If you are interested in doing such things, please, get in touch with one of us, either on the list, anybody that's been talking today, and let us know. Katie, we'll keep this panel discussion going too. We'll keep the notes there if you'll just keep us updated there, because I think you've got a lot of interest there, and a lot of libraries have tried various things, and even if they're just small projects, it's definitely worth mentioning there. Electronic resources, I'll follow up with Jessica on that. Regular expressions, yeah, okay, homework.
Well, there it is. Think checker. I see it loaded
Oh,
further
yeah.
down. But I have this sinking feeling no one's using it. Because no one ever comes up with anything helpful. No
Right?
one ever has anything to say at all. So
Okay. So we need at least a what is this thing? What's it supposed to do? Oh, and Catherine, I think you're correct. That's where I was going. Is I remember somebody showing me on that record query screen how they used regular expressions, but for the life of me, I can't remember right now what it looked like. So, in record query, um, Libby, thanks. To see if they want to demo how you use regex. I think that would be fabulous. I would love to see what you're doing at King County. You're searching. Yep. So we share practical examples. Okay. And questions. There you go. There you go. There's their homework. Not too bad. Mary, I will see what I can find out about link checker. Jennifer, start asking people questions. Okay, I can do that. All righty. Well, it's top of the hour. I will stick around for a few minutes, but I know that we all are very often bouncing off to somewhere else, and I know new devs, I think, is starting now. So thank you to everybody that needs to go. Thank you for being here. This is a really great conversation. Keep it going on the listservs. Any ideas? I will ping the organizing group so that we make sure we're organized. I'm going to stop the recording. Thank you all so much. See you in February, and I'll stick around for chatting.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.